It's a pleasure to be here today to talk a little bit about Firebase and my adventures with some web technologies. And thanks for coming. All right, so this is my Twitter handler, my Instagram, and also my email. So if you want to contact me after the talk or ask me any question, just feel free to send me a direct message. It's always open to discuss more things. Okay, one thing that I would like to ask you is to try this app that I've been building with Angular and Firebase. It's a bit.ly firelist-dev. So I'm gonna demo this app later, and this is the app that I'm trying to build to be able to contribute with the community in terms of Angular, Firebase, Angular Fire, Google Maps, and so on. Okay, so I'm born in Brazil, and I'm currently living in Dublin. And as she mentioned, I'm work for ERS, and it's been quite a journey because I've been traveling around the world a little bit, just a little bit, you know. So it looks like I've been traveling more in Europe than my hometown. So it's like, maybe, I don't know. And currently I'm working with .NET and Angular. So my background is JavaScript, and it's been since like, I don't know, maybe 7 or 8 years. And I got this challenge to learn .NET and C# and build APIs. And it's been quite interesting because we have lots of debates about like front end, back end, and full stack. But what I really truly believe is we are just developers. If you have a task to do, just do it. It doesn't matter if you need to work with C#, JavaScript, Java, Kotlin, whatever. Just do it what you need to do. And that's what we need to change in terms of development. Because when we say developer, we need to just build whatever we need to build. And it doesn't matter the language. So we should start to, I prefer this or I prefer that. Actually, it's not about you. It's about what you need to do. So just keep it in mind, okay? All right. So our life is, kind of crazy sometimes. And we need to think about it, right? And I really like to be organized. And it's really difficult because we have so many things to do. So I started to use the Google Keep, and I was like, oh, nice. It has everything that I need, and I can be well organized over there with labels, share with friends, and everything. And I'm really passionate about lists. And we have also now Google Tasks that you can integrate with other Google products. So for example, I use this integration inside of my previous talk. And now I also discovered Microsoft To Do. So they have a little bit more of intelligence. So if you didn't do what you're supposed to do before, so for example, let's say that today you have some pending tasks, so they are going to, the Microsoft To Do are going to reorder your priorities in terms of what you need to do. Okay. Maybe time for coffee? I do have coffee. Oh, I know what's happening. Okay, let's just... I told you, it's time for coffee. All right. So I decided to start this project. It's called Firelist, and the idea behind it was like to contribute to our community, our developer community. So I decided, okay, let's do this. I'm going to use Angular, Firebase, and Google Maps to create this location-based notes app. But I didn't want to do this by myself. And then I invited Chris to build this with me. So the idea, we were like brainstorming, and the idea was like, okay, let's create this course, this training, full stack Firebase. So you do the Angular part, and I'll do the React part. And unfortunately, I couldn't deliver the course, but Chris delivered the course, and you can learn more about this in fullstackfirebase.com. We have this course for React and Firebase, so if you want to learn more, you can check it later. And also, I have some vouchers for you to try this course for free. So make sure to tweet about Firebase, about Angular, about progressive web apps, whatever you want, with the hashtag of the event. And then you can send me via direct message or something, or if you tag me, I can also track and send the link for you, so you can try it tonight or tomorrow. Maybe not tonight. I heard that we have an after party, so. All right, and our idea as well is to create content for the community. So you can check github.com how to Firebase, and we have the Firelist Angular app, the Firelist React app, and also the full stack Firebase content. It's all about Firebase, and I think you're going to learn a lot of things over there. Okay, so this presentation is a little bit like, I was thinking about this, and oh, come on, I'm doing so much stuff inside of this presentation. I need to squeeze a little bit, or maybe try a different thing. So I'm going to try something different, because I think it's important for you all as well to see some code. Well, we are in a DevFest conference, so it should be nice. All right, so if we are talking about Angular, how many of you already tried Angular or using Angular today? Okay. How about React? Why not? Vue.js? No? No, just one hand? Okay. All right, Ember.js maybe? No, just, no? No? Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So, one of the great things about Angular is the Angular CLI. So you can just install an Angular CLI using npm. It's just easy to do it. You just go there and you npm install Angular CLI, and you can use this at next if you want to get the next version. Well, if the terminal is not your best friend, sometimes we are a little bit of scary about like terminal. Oh no, I need to do command line. I don't like it. All right. We also have this nice project, Angular Console, that you can go with at angularconsole.com. And it pretty much, what is this, is like just a nice UI that you can use. They have this stable release, and it's just like this. You're just, create a new Angular workspace, and instead of go to the terminal, you just go there and the app will build it for you. Okay, so after this, you're going to create a new project, Firelist Angular. And now, with Angular 7, we have several questions to help the development process of creating a new app. And that's pretty much what we have. And also, the Angular CLI introduced the specs that you need to do unit testing. Unit testing is really important. So if you are thinking about deploy an app, please use unit testing. Cover your app with tests is the best thing that you're going to do for yourself and for your project. So also, we have the protractor for end-to-end test. And my favorite tool about end-to-end is Cypress. So Cypress.io is really incredible. You can use with all web apps that you have. You don't need to use only with Angular. And oh boy, this is really good, really, really good. So another thing that I really like to do is create specific hosts for the app. So imagine that you're developing a web app, and you need to start another one, or the company that you work for, they have several projects. So what I like to do is just configure the NG serve to run in different hosts. So I know what I'm working on in that moment, because localhost sometimes is like, what I'm working now. So you just go to the host files, and you just place like firelist.angular, and that's what you need to do. In terms of Firebase, you're going to need to change as well, because you need authorized domains. So you just go there to the Firebase console and create it there. And it's great. It is great because you can run a Angular and Firebase app in just a matter of minutes, and it's really easy. So another thing that I'm trying to do, because the purpose of that repository is also for teaching the community, is to create a pull request with each step, with each feature. So for example, this is one of the first pull requests that I had, and so I was migrating the app to the Angular 5. So documentation is really important, and sometimes we don't read the documentation, right? Sometimes, just sometimes. But it's really important because when we read the documentation, we know what we need to do in a specific moment. And for example, if you are going to work with the Angular CLI, it's really important for you to know more about the tool that you are using. So just to recap, I think that curiosity is one of the best things for us as a developer to try and experiment different things. And that's what I'm trying. So for example, a few months ago, I also started to create this app using React Native and Flutter. So that's why it's a little bit complicated to finish the app. But I'm going to focus on this app to release a really solid app in the next few weeks. Some resources for you later. And so we are experiencing this progressive web apps like everyone is talking about. If you go to Twitter right now, probably you're going to see on your timeline someone mention something related to progressive web apps. And this is really important because we are seeing like this change related to progressive web apps. And I can tell you, your customers or your clients, they're going to have loads of things to facilitate the use of your app, of your web app, when you have this as a progressive web app. And if you are using the Angular CLI, it's just easy to create like the basic progressive web apps structure that you need with the Angular CLI as well. So also, in terms of Angular CLI, we have the schematics. You can learn a little bit more about this later. And documentation once again. So in terms of progressive web apps, we are going to have a talk today. So I'm not going to talk in deep related to this. But what Angular CLI does is just create some files that you can configure in an easy way. And the web app manifest that we need. And after that, you just build your app using the prod flag. We have tons of resources related to progressive web apps. And one of them is this PWA Rocks. They have loads of examples there that you can check later, including that nice game that you can play as well. So progressive web apps are really interesting. And this is the Firelist Angular app that I've been building. And you can add the progressive web app, for example, using macOS, turning on the desktop PWA flag on Chrome. So it's going to give you a better experience, and it's going to be really interesting for you to enable it and test what you can do today with progressive web apps. And basically, that's what we can do, which means we can do a lot today. And you can follow that Twitter just to see. It's a full thread with other comments related to progressive web apps and where it's supported and where it's not. So as you can see, we have also macOS, that's what I'm demonstrating there, and Windows 10 inside of Edge. So one of the greatest things about progressive web apps is service workers. And service workers is a huge topic, but in terms of Angular CLI, you can configure with the neg.sw config file, and it's really, really simple, and you can try it later. More resource for you later. And when I'm working with a web app, I like to have nice UI components. We have tons of options, but in fact, material design is, for me, one of the greatest. So, of course, we do have the Angular material, and if you are not using Angular, you are probably going to find other projects related to material design. And also, once again, you have all these components that you can try, and we have new components with the drag and drop and the virtual scrolling. They are really, really interesting to provide more performance to your app. So to set up, you can use the old school npm install, or you can use the neg add. And I really recommend you to use the neg add because it's going to do all of that you need for your project to support the material design. And then you can choose a theme, and all the files that you need to update is going to be automatically updated for you. Okay, and if you really need touch gestures, by the way, we are using this in our application at work, and it's really brilliant. You have tons of touch gestures, and for mobile applications, you're definitely going to need it. So check out Hammer.js, and of course, you can use with other projects not related only to Angular. But the setup to enable, it's really easy. For material design, I like to create a module specific for material design, so you can include everything that you need. So for example, here we have this material module. And then we also have the StackBlitz. StackBlitz is a great tool for the community because you can share your project easily. So sometimes you just want to share a specific project, a specific branch from GitHub, and you can do this with StackBlitz. So definitely check this out, and when you are experimenting or doing something like by yourself or testing something, you can go there to StackBlitz and share with others and ask for help, for example. And it's funny because I was doing all by myself, and recently I discovered this great project called Angular NEG-RX Material Started. And they have everything that I needed, but I didn't know about the project. So now that I know, my idea is to also contribute to the project, and they have some issues there. So if you never contribute to an open source project before, they have a great resource for you to start it. And it's really great to contribute to the open source community. So we have some recap here. Specific module, Hammer.js, and be aware of the new functionalities of the Angular material. Some resource. And let's talk a little bit about Firebase. How many of you already tried Firebase before? Or want to try Firebase? Okay. And Firebase is a Google's mobile platform, right? And it's funny because I started to use Firebase like, I don't know, like 4, 5 years ago, I don't know. And I was working with Ember at that moment. And I went to this meetup in San Francisco. And they launched the Emberfire. And I was really impressed with this real-time database and everything. I was like, oh my God, we need to try this, we need to use it. And I got back to the office, and I talked with the CTO. Hey, so I heard about this Firebase thing. They have this Emberfire. It's going to be great. We don't need to have our own API or develop our own API. Can we use it? Can we try it? And he looked at me and, nope. So it was kind of frustrating because I wanted to try, but I couldn't. But I tried Firebase with some aside projects that I've been building, and I can tell you it's really great. And in terms of development, it's also easy to start with Firebase. You just go to the console, and you create a project. And if you think about your workflow when we are consuming APIs, sometimes it's a little bit awkward because we need to wait for a developer or for yourself to create a new endpoint that you need, or extend the current endpoint to bring more attributes that you need. So Firebase is really interesting because you can update everything related to your database. And once again, the documentation is really great. They put a lot of effort to keep it updated, and you can see different things there. So to add Firebase to your Angular app, you just need to install the Firebase tools. And after that, you just need to Firebase log in with your Google account that you created your Firebase project, and then Firebase init. It's all that you need to start using Firebase, and this options is also related to other projects. So we have some configuration here that you're going to ask, like, what is your project and everything. You just need to follow there, and it's going to create a JSON file and a .firebase SCR for you. So to try, you just go to ng build prod, Firebase deploy, and your app is going to be deployed in the URL inside of the firebaseapp.com. And this is the URL that you can test the Notes app as well. And to use Firebase with Angular, we have this great project, Angular Fire. And you just need to install the latest version using the npm command. Tons of features that we have. And now the things get to start more interesting, because I decided to show you the code and every piece of the functionality that I have inside of this tool. So let's switch here to the project. OK, so let me get some water first. So this is the project. As you can see, it's running a local host. And on the left side, you can see the Visual Studio Code with the whole project. OK, so first thing, talking about authentication. Firebase, if you go to the Firebase console, you have these tons of functionalities. And the authentication tab here, you have the sign-in method. So the sign-in method, as you can see, we have sign-in providers. And you can install all these providers inside of your app, following the documentation, for example. For example, here for Google, it's just easy. You just need to enable, and that's pretty much what you need to do. Of course, you can have advanced configuration if you want, but not needed. For Facebook, for example, you need an app ID, app secret, and so on. So you also need to follow the documentation, and it's pretty easy. You just need to click Learn More, and you're going to see all the steps that you need. For Twitter as well, you need to follow the process. But it's really simple to start with the authentication part. And here, if we go to the out service, we have here this provider that you can use, and the great thing is that you can get this provider from the GitHub project that I have and use on your own project. And here we have all things related to signing, the GitHub, Twitter, Facebook, Google. And if you want to extend, so for example, if you want to send a pull request, it's going to be great. So you just need to extend here inside of this switch which provider you want to extend. And then we have some configuration here. So Firebase has one specific error related to existed accounts, so you can also deal with this specific error. And here I have this update user data using Firestore to update that specific user. So I can use for other things as well. And here, if you are not familiar with Angular, it's really, if you think about like components, where the HTML is the template and the TS file is the controller, let's say, it's just what we need to do. So here we have everything in terms of this project here. And one important thing is to go through your environment and set up correctly the Firebase keys configuration and the Google Maps key as well. So the app components using just app navbar and the router outlet for the routing specific part for this app. And then we have all things related to notes inside of this notes module here. There's one great thing for you to create modules for each specific feature of your app. So for example, if you want to use this notes module inside of your app, you can just copy and paste, let's say, or I can also enable it via NPM. And it's really, really interesting. So we have this auth component here, not fancy, like, just some information. And the part here is, the important part here is this connect with Google. So when I click on connect with Google, it's going to start the authentication via Google provider. So go here, and Firebase is going to handle everything for you, and then it's going to redirect to the notes list. So this is pretty much what the authentication does. And if you are not, oh, nice. So Philippe just shared this note with me. It's one of the functionalities that we have in place. I'm going to show you in a moment. And so this is the auth component. So it's just using the auth service that we can inject into our component, and then redirect after auth just a private method that's going to use the router navigate functionality. Cool. This is just what you need to do to create a signing method with Firebase. And I still need to implement the email and password and other, for example, phone. It's a little bit more advanced, so I didn't have time yet, but I'll implement soon enough. And so you can check the other options that we have here later on. But as I told you before, you need the authorized domains. That's why I have firelist.angular here when I'm using this specific domain, instead of localhost, for example. And then here we have the notes list app, right? And you can, for example, Firebase Summit is coming, and you can share with your friends here. So if you created a notes app, you can just go here, not here, that it's breaking for some reason. You can go here and share with me with my Gmail here. And it's going to update my notes list just like Sintra did here. So he shared with me this list, and now I can change everything. I can add other things here, like share Firebase. Awesomeness with the audience. And then I can, okay, have a nice coffee. It looks like we did it. And it's, okay, I think this one is previously already. Have another beer. I think you had enough, bro. Okay, that's almost finished. And of course, I can delete. Okay, you have enough beer, so that's it. All right, let's talk about the note list here in particular. So this note list is inside of the components of the notes module. And here, I know that's like, you can see, let me see what I can do, because I think I'm in front of you guys, but I could try to change here like this. Okay, better now. All right, so here, once again, I need to use the out service to check if the user is logged in or not. And then I have this collection inside of Firebase called notes. And as you can see here, I'm listing only the notes that is shared with that specific user via email. We have other possibilities instead of email, but I found that it would be like the easiest way. Another thing is maybe implement via SMS. It's one thing that you can do as well. And then when I get that information, I just use here these notes as a observable. And then in my template, I'm going to just use the async pipe and wait for that note. So in this case here, Angular is connected with the Firestore database. And then I'm using some material components here to have that nice progress bar. And if I have no results, I'm also using this blank slate. So if you try the app and when you log in, you're going to see this quote here. You're going to see a nice image. And as soon as you created a new note, it's going to show the list here. And then it's just easy to use the notes inside of this NG container. And then NG4 is just looping through the notes. And I can use this note object here to update everything. So I have the title, I have the description, the date, location, and also I'm using this float here to add a new note. So this is pretty much what we have inside of the note list. One thing that, for example, I could use is the virtual scrolling. So imagine that we have loads of notes here. So it's going to be a little bit, the repainting is going to be greater than we expected. So I could use the virtual scroll. But I think the virtual scroll, we need a fixed height. And as you can see here, I don't have this fixed height because I'm checking everything here. So for example, this Firebase Summit, I have 2 lines, and this first here I just have 1. So I'm going to give it a try to see if it's possible also to use the virtual scrolling here, right? Okay, so this is the notes list part. I think I'm not, I'm not forgetting anything. And in this case here, now I need to switch back to switch back here. I'm going to, okay. And here we're going to the database. So in terms of database, you can use the Cloud Firestore, it's a news database, or you can still use the real-time database. Remember when I told you about the Ember Fire and I was really excited? Yeah, I spent long years working with the real-time database. But now we have Firestore, and Firestore has this concept of documents and collections. And if you work with MongoDB, for example, you are going to be familiar also with this kind of concept. And here we have the documents, and each document they have also fields, like collaborators in this case here, share with, and other things here. So you can notice here that I have like a fading document because this collaborators here is a sub-collection, and for Firestore, you need to handle this in a different way. Because the sub-collections is independent of the document itself. So when you delete the document, you also need to delete the sub-collections. So if you know that you're going to need to delete the sub-collections, you just go here and create a cloud function. And the cloud function is all what you need if you are going to do extra things related to Firebase. So as you can see here, I'm using just this delete collection here to delete all to-dos for that specific node. So it's just one thing that you can do, and you can also see inside of the functions here. So for example, if you created a node and you deleted, it's going to show here in this log here. So for example, if I go here to the Chrome Dev Summit and delete the Chrome Dev Summit, in a few seconds, in a few moments, I'm going to see here that delete nodes and to-dos triggered inside of the cloud functions. And then, with this in place, we have also the hosting. So the hosting functionality is really great. Okay, it's taking longer than I expected, the functions. And here we have the hosting. With Firebase deploy, it's really easy. So you can just go here and deploy or even hold back if something went wrong. Of course, we have more and more features that we can use. Here's the console showing like some hosting functions and real-time database statistics. And the implementation related to geolocation, we have tons of things, and I would like to show you, but too much stuff, and I'm almost run out of time. So I just want to show you this map component that I created. So I'm using this AGM marker and this AGM map library as well. So inside of the map component, I have the get user location, and it's just using the navigator geolocation, and I have other functions as well. And when I need to use more advanced stuff, I can use functionality directly from Google Maps. So for example, if you want to implement autocomplete, Google Maps has the Places API with this autocomplete enabled already, so you can just use like that and create a new marker with the specific attributes. So loads of things, and so if you need to calculate distance, for example, you can go with the direction service, and everything that I have here that I'm showing to you, I'm going to update to the repo so you can see, and you can see in more details later, because time is running out. And it's really interesting that you can have the distance, you can have the durations as well. So with Google Maps, you can have loads of information, and the idea is to update the Notes app. So when you have a location, you're going to see the distance, you're going to see the duration to go there. Loads of things coming up, but I do not have time, and I need to go back to my presentation. Actually, I need to finish my presentation. So I explained everything here. Get current location, Angular Google Maps. And then you can use GeoFirestore for more advanced stuff. Or Algolia Places is also really great. So almost finished. Firebase has a YouTube channel that you can check. We're going to have the Firebase Summit. Hope you all will be there. The Alpha program is really important if you want to help the Firebase features. If you want to try more, they have the Firebase Code Labs. I'm still trying to create this course with everything. And remember, if you first do it, then do it right, then do it better. It's a great quote from Adios Money. Go and have fun, because that's all that we need. Thank you so much. Wow.